The Beef and Barnzy Show, brought to you by Bowlersmart.com, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. By Lightning Strikes Bowl, home of Bowlers Mart Pro Shop. By Platinum Ford, drive the difference. By Fire Lake Bowling Center, 24 state-of-the-art lanes. By True Grit Coatings, drive on our passion. By Road to Grip, king of them all. By 900 Global, striking worldwide.
Good morning and welcome back to the Beef and Barnzy Show. We're back to talk to you about not only the next factor, but a few other things going on in the bowling world today. But as usual, I am Barnzy, joined by the inimitable Beef Stew.
How we doing, guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen and everything else? The title of this show is something along the lines of "The Next Factor is very interesting." I'm already beginning to start catching hate. Tim, if you're still watching, it's as interesting as all the rest of them. While I concede that a lot of the bowling balls are somewhat samey, and you hear us say this quite a lot anyway, that we do feel like the balls are somewhat similar. This one definitely isn't similar. Like, it's not like any of the other balls, really, in my mind. Like, by fact, not necessarily by the reaction going down the lane, just by literally the numbers on paper. So if you want to tell me that this isn't like slightly more interesting, go find me another ball that's got numbers that are close to this and we can chat about it. And maybe I'm wrong, but high RG, and we're talking real high RG, 256, not like 253 or whatever nonsense that we've said is a high RG asymmetrical in the past, or higher RG. And it's got 017 asymmetrical diff. So to me, that's interesting because there isn't another ball like that. So I was kind of fascinated to see what it was like. I got to drill it a couple of weeks ago, and the first time I took it on the lanes, I'll be honest, I was fairly shocked as to how good it was. I then let the guy I was giving a lesson to throw it. Bearing in mind his span is about an inch longer than mine. He proceeded to have 7 or 8 in a row and said, "When can I get one of these?" Do I think this ball is going to be great for two-handers? Probably not. Like, because it really doesn't slow down in the front.
Yeah, Ryan's thrown his too, and it does the thing that they do naturally.
Yes.
Because they have so much rev rate, they can throw it firmer and eliminate what we see a lot these days, which is more, older surfaces getting beat up in the front. And they eliminate that. Well, this ball does that for the rest of us. Yeah, and so it's hard. Ryan drilled his super strong to try and slow it down. And it was okay. It was definitely different, but he was kind of struggling. I mean, he was getting ready to go on a trip with 6 balls for a month. So
yeah,
it had way too many things had to be in play for that to be the ball he would use. So for the rest of us, there's going to be a group that's going to think really going to like it. I've thrown it for 10 shots in the video, which I did yesterday. And then the last 2 games in league, of which I got to move left of every ball I had. And it looked surprisingly good on the house shot, which is something I would thought you'd had too much wet dry, especially lately, the blue oil kind of thing and some of that. So thanks, Glenn.
Nice to see you, Glenn. Yeah.
But I mean, to some extent, it's not a one-size-fits-all ball, but it was way closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think for me, I think on some house shots, it's going to be a little challenging to use it because I think it's going to get behind it and you're going to ring 10 on the shots on more shots. You're definitely going to ring 10 more than you're going to flat 10 with it, in my opinion. I like it. I'm fascinated to drill a couple of others a little stronger and see kind of if I can blend them a little bit more. But it's just nice to be able to not have to worry about really throwing it through the front part of the lane. And having a ball that's actually got some bang down the lane, I guess.
This is not a terrible comparison.
It's
stronger though. And in my review, it'll be up on it'll be up this week sometime.
Yeah.
I throw these two up against each other, and they're drilled basically identically. So you'll get to see for yourself what you think.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a little bit more pop down the lane than the high road. The high road's a little smoother. The high road 40, that is.
Right.
Yeah. Like I say, we've got some videos that I put together that we can have a look at in a minute. But like for me, I just feel like balls that you have that are different are useful. And that's why for me, the Ion Pro Solid is another one that we have that I think has the opportunity for us as on the PBA tour for sure, to be a difference maker. This year, when we bowled on tour, I think that the balls that had been really useful for us, I think mostly when our staff has been able to use attention stars, I feel like it may not be good for everybody, but for the guys it was good for, I felt like that was a ball that was really good for our brands. On the motive side, that Evoke Hysteria at the World Series was ridiculous. Like everybody who used that seemed to be crushing them. And obviously on the Brunswick side, you obviously look at the urethane situation, but also when they got to use that Effector, that was another ball that was like a difference maker for them. So I'm very curious because if this ball will work on the PBA tour, I think Storm are going to have a huge advantage just because the other companies don't have a ball that's close to this in those numbers.
I think this is a good question of Vibo and what was the other one?
X2.
The X2. And I did not throw an X2 against it. I did throw a Vibo up against it. And so you'll be able to see that as well. The higher RG will make it stand out a little bit more, but you're in the right range with clean covers, big cores, but the RG being higher is going to allow it to get longer on a pretty regular basis.
So coming in live from the World Championships, I thought you'd pick that one up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got plenty of opinions on it.
I'm just reveling in my righteousness of figuring this out quite a long time ago that it was a waste of my time. Watching roll-offs when they count the pins is kind of stupid. It's then even more stupid when they bowl one game and there's 3 teams rolling off and they don't just all bowl on the same lane because they're only bowling one game.
Right.
Now, that's only a really tiny little bit of the issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the only real halfway format is singles where you have some qualifying and then these pods are
interesting.
Interesting is a nice word to put it. I didn't like them when they first came out. The Senior Worlds bowled them once. But I also know myself. I don't like change any more than anyone else. I went, okay, it does work for soccer. I see the point. Let's see how it plays out. And then it played out exactly like you thought it would. That one pod averages way less. One pod, almost, I think 3 out of the 4 men's pods in the singles, the high average guy did not get through. I think Packy was the high average in his pod by almost 20 pins and finished 3rd, as a matter of fact. It just, yeah. I mean, and roll-offs are interesting, but if you're not going to bowl in the same same lane, same pair, then there was obviously watching pairs there where the right lane was way harder than left. And this is a fact. And this is the problem with all of IBF. They basically have one athlete on a competition committee, and that's about it. Now the IOC mandates 30%, I believe. Somebody can fill me in if that's not right. But IBF has none of that. But yeah, we belong in the Olympics while we're basically running a autocracy and allegedly buying votes and doing all this other nonsense. Allegedly laundering money. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, we're not allowing the athletes to have any say. The people in the room are way more worried about schedules. I thought the World Championships was a better format with two patterns, so you didn't get the same thing over and over. And if there's one style that has a decided advantage, it doesn't carry over onto everything. But the fact you bowl trios and you bowl 7 Baker games is the entirety of the format, and team is also 7 games. So you have to be there for 15 days and could bowl 11 games. That seems like a world championship. That's a Tuesday. For an MP athlete, you probably still have 3 or 4 games left. And now you bowl the whole entire world championship. It's just a joke. So that's my rant.
But shout out to my girl from Finland who's kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic. I'm not saying you have the good bowlers.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just
this. And Lucas, Mika's student, beat Thomas Kaiko in the finals of the singles. He bowled great. He was one of the guys that actually led his pod, and then went through and he beat Ryan, then beat Keiko, and he bowled great. I
don't really understand why they're having an all events medal just out of like.
I don't even know what it's based off of finishes, right?
Here's the problem. Yeah, but here's the problem. If you bowl and finish 1-2 in singles and you lose to somebody from your team, you can't win all events now. Because if you go 1-2 in singles, you're clearly going to bowl doubles and trios with them and team. So you can't win singles. You can't win all events if you come second in singles to your teammate.
Yeah, I mean it's
the
problem when you don't have athletes involved with decision making. You get schedules right, it's just it's why people bitch about old people being in the room making decisions. Now the problem is young people are too busy. But
at the very least, you have to have
athletes
is part
walk through it. Go ahead.
Right. Anyway, Sean did ask, did I think that this ball would be any use at the World Championships? No, because it's not sanded to 500 in urethane.
Oh, it's not the 500 ones. It's the ones that are like 2,000 that still hook that much somehow. Oh yeah, by the way, we're not testing urethane balls up there.
Anyway, next factor compared to phase 2 full, which is better. I mean, better is such a relative and situational term.
You're probably not going to use them against each other that often.
Yeah. Phase 2 Pearl could be something you could use the first game of League. This next factor would be maybe a last game of League when you really... For Tina last night, when she got into it, we got there a little late, so she didn't get to practice very much. She used her the Ion Pro Solid the first game, and it was kind of flat 10 a little bit. So I kind of, encouraged her to try that next factor. And it was okay. It was okay. And then she started to see what would happen if she got her hand around it a little bit. And once she did that, she was amazed. Like, it would continue so well for her because it wasn't losing all the energy in the front part of the lane. So she could actually start to, give the head pin away a little bit and not be petrified of flat 10-ing. So that was definitely a positive. Bert, thanks for the super chat. On the release, the first few track flares are clipping the thumb hole, not the fingers. Happens most with 5-inch pin-up Night Road and 4-inch pin down Eternity. Any common reasons or fixes for this? A lot of the time, because Frankie clips his thumb quite a bit. A lot of the time is because you actually rotate a little early, and then your brain kicks in and you want to stay behind it. So you end up with your thumb here, and then you hit back on it a little bit. So some of the causes of those things are getting your shoulder early and forward and getting your elbow out. And it's like, it's one of those things that I know this is going to sound a little fucked up, but you almost have to be a little talented to get into this issue, because you almost have to have a little bit of hand feel coordination to oh shit, my hand's in the wrong spot. And if you didn't do that, you probably wouldn't run into this issue. But if we can clean that up, the bit before you have the issue, I think that it's going to make life a little easier for you. I'm surprised that it's happening with the pin-up ball.
Right.
The pin down ball makes a lot of sense, to be honest.
Yeah, that will pull it that way. The fact that it's pin up and pin down, it makes me wonder a little bit about a fit or pitch that might be slightly different, but the same on those two balls versus some other ones. But you can check that too. Yeah, what do athletes know? Yeah, and there is a thing about the inmates running the asylum. You don't want them to do everything, but the actual formats. And what's the goal of the formats? Is it to make the balance between entertaining and figuring out who the best competitors are that week? I think that's kind of the goal. And you can't just do pins and be super boring and super slow and all that, but we can do some things that are a little better than that. Yeah, the thoughts on checking hardness. Malpractice mostly. I mean, it's obviously an issue. It's been brought up. Multiple reports from different coaches of not USA coaches, incidentally. I heard this while I was at the Worlds from coaches that coach in the Middle East and Asia, and opening bags and the smell of acetone wafting through the air, like it's commonplace. And
yes,
even watching online, you watch some of these and you're like, his rev rate's mine, and he's throwing it 20 miles an hour from, I don't know, 15 to 8. Like, really?
In fairness, they're not hiding it. This isn't like a, oh my God, this happened, yet everybody still is gone.
Well, there's a lot less teams bowling these days than used to, but
yeah.
So,
any idea why SPI won't let a new ball gain some traction before announcing another new ball? Seems like that hurts overall sales. I think lots of people who don't have a lot of the data, myself included, have lots of opinions. And in general, we're mostly full of shit, because Storm obviously feel like that's not the case, because they wouldn't do it, would they? Like, they obviously feel like there is a smaller group of buyers who want to buy more balls, who are supporting the market.
Yeah,
that's the only logical answer to that.
And Cliff,
they're also not asking everybody to buy everything.
Cliff can probably back up your opinion about the rest of us having an opinion on how to run his business.
Yeah.
No, I get it. It seems crazy, and even as a global ambassador, we get a shiny asymmetrical ball, and within 2 weeks we have a phase 2, and now we have another shiny asymmetrical ball both from storm on top of it. So what do you think the chances are of not the flagship brand surviving and doing well? So, uh, you know,
I have none. Somebody who should know this is the USB-C.
yeah,
Whether they have an idea, I don't know. But
it might be awfully hard because I don't think Bolero and the USB-C are working hand in hand. So, uh, Bolero should also have their own idea. Right. And that's exactly it. And the model in Asia has basically been a new ball every month, no matter how good the previous one was. And there's the phase two and the phase two, asterisk, the phase two this, the phase two that, the phase two, there's just several of them back to back to back. It
yeah,
was
I
out like
mean,
the Badgers. There was 18 colors of Badgers over there at one point.
yeah. I mean, I would say, while I agree, this next factor is significantly different.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
not a
don't
more.
think somebody who's in the market for a phase 2 Pearl, unless they're going to a pro shop who really isn't giving a shit or paying any attention, I don't think you should be like, hey, I want a phase 2 Pearl. Oh no, the next factor come out. I would have got that instead. Like, I take the point when we had like oh god, Gremlin, Hyperdrive Pearl, Viking, like etc. etc. They're somewhat in the same ballpark. The this one is not.
Yeah, the hyperdrive. It's, I mean, 251, I believe, but they're
mean,
not.
For me,
They're
they're
still
miles
quite a ways
different.
apart.
Like,
Wow.
yeah. Like
Uh,
I find the hyperdrive is exactly the fits exactly what we've been talking about, where I really feel like if I can get it through the front part of the lane, like with my hand doing the right thing, I can get it to do nice things down the lane, but I really have to think about it. Whereas with the next factor, I don't have to think about it at all. In fact, the only thing I'm actually thinking about is trying to make sure the ball slows down, which is a total 180 on what we've been having to do previously. So anyway, should we stop talking and have a look at some video and see what's going on?
sure.
Let the people know. Here's Chris. That's quite a long way right for you at Louisville, right?
Yeah, this is the best, one of the best lanes there, but
Right.
this is different. Like I said, I throw a Viking up against it just so you get an idea.
And this is a brand new Viking as well, so
Yeah, it's and
you
there's a
didn't
difference.
quite get it as far right, but I would argue that's probably because it slowed down a little bit before it got to as far right.
Yeah, in the audio you hear them. It's 3-4 feet sooner. It picks up on the way to it so much more.
And that's kind of the ball you were talking about being the closest for you, that High Road 40.
Right. Yeah.
Ironically, both of those balls without AI.
Yeah. Thicker cover stocks, thicker shells.
Yeah. I just think that they just the AI balls do tend to transition a little faster. I mean, that thing is getting way out there. You're making this look almost like it's cheetah.
Yeah, ironically, that's kind of how I tried to bowl last night because I haven't been able to do it for a while. You know,
Yeah.
roll stop it a little bit, but I'm doing it from 5 or 6 feet sooner towards the gutter.
Yeah.
Not that far down lane. Yeah, and this place it's blue oil, and this is fair. And most of the time, the only way I can curve it is if the lane man is super helping me. But I wasn't really trying to wrap my hand around these.
No.
And so, it's obviously the biggest issue I have when I bowl with the kids is that's what I do. And then I get my game is out of whack. It's I believe 5x3 or 5x4 by 2.5. So pin above the middle finger, CG or mass bias just 1.5 inches right of my thumb. And so kind of my standard start. And that's the funnest part about it for me is I felt like I could roll it all I wanted, and I didn't have to worry about it making the corner.
Yeah, I mean, me and you had a decent kind of breakdown of it before you drilled it, sort of chatting about it and how I saw it. And me and you don't always see the balls like
No,
super similar. I
you
think
like
in
to break point
general,
a little further down the lane, and well, I
yeah.
like it down there. I just can't get it to there.
Well, I was about to say, I think in general we sort of see, well, this is a good ball, this is meh. Um, but I do really believe that this ball is significantly different, and that's 100% where I'm seeing it. Let's just let me just answer this super chat here. Hello. Third world real problem. With import taxes, shipping not night and day, the bowlers aren't buying balls that won't be the last release in 1 week. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I just feel like you've just got to get to the point, and trust me, I have an electronics problem. I buy a lot of electronics. And I buy a lot of things that I don't need. But you've just got to. I'll give you an idea. I have a smart house. Like all my light switches, I can tell, I can control them remotely. I can do whatever. The light switches that are the best light switches in my house, I actually bought in 2016, and they're more expensive now than they were in 2016. And it's the same switch. My point to this with bowling balls is just because you want a bowling ball, it doesn't necessarily mean that when they release another one, that the one that you wanted that was right for you is now wrong because they released a different one.
Yeah.
So if you try to get your customers to understand that they need to fill gaps in their arsenal, and largely it doesn't matter what the name of that ball is, that to me is if they're buying for need in their arsenal, well, when something comes out, like the fear factor, the next factor coming out a couple of weeks after the phase 2 pearl doesn't make the phase 2 pearl any less useful.
Yeah.
And if you wanted a phase 2 pearl, you definitely didn't want an X factor for the same gap, because they're not going to fit even close to the same gap. So I understand the frustration of wanting to have the newest, greatest thing, and like some guys are going to be like that, but Storm releasing another ball doesn't make the ball you have any less useful, is the way I would look at it.
Okay. Yeah, he's right about that. As much as I don't like having two storm balls on top of a global ball like that, it's a little bit tougher for the person that buys one ball and doesn't necessarily have an opinion. He's going to have the one ball for a year and kind of thing, or 2 years maybe. But the three balls are not close necessarily. They're not on top of each other. You have that low RG symmetrical phase 2 is a traditional thing. The Viking is a cleaner, stronger, Equinox kind of type ball. And this next factor is a lower end skid whipper, and we really haven't had a strongish kind of thing like that since maybe the Vivo. It's been a minute, and it's still different from that as well.
And I believe that people are going to get that's another point. I think that some people are going to be a little bit upset when they see the price, because it's definitely going to be a high end ball. I believe that high end is high performance, and I think you're going to get high performance out of this ball. But no, yeah, the fear factor was actually a ball a long time ago as well.
We get a new show name. We just call it that.
Yeah. When is the fear factor available? About 2006.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. So you say just wants a 9B baby blue. Hey, side note, since you're tour level player and even at your advanced age, how close is your 9B blue hammer to one of the new black pearl hammers in your take? Sure, one of the few people that could make that. New
Here
ball
we
carrier.
go.
Yeah, I know some people that buy into that. They've certainly infected my son.
I hope you're not looking at me.
100% looking at you. You and Dom. You spread faster than
I mean, he did do quite well.
okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, my garage is not thanking you. I'll
Thank you.
tell you that.
Here
He's
it
way
is.
quicker to drill than he is to get rid of them. I can tell you that.
Of course. You never know. Rainy day. It's like bowling balls are like that piece of wood that the old guys keep in the garage. Yes, it fits. 17 miles an hour off the hand, 250 RPMs, older wood house, iron solid, optimum idle. I don't know what OP is.
Optimum Idle Pearl.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. IQ Tour, High Road, Magic Gem.
Excel. Any gaps, overlaps, or suggestions? Cove a good addition.
Mm,
I don't see the Cove, to be honest. With Ion Solid, Optimum Idle, and the Excel. I don't really necessarily see that as a
especially if your Excel's gotten a little bit lane shined, I think you kind of got that gap covered a little bit. I think so. Yeah, IQ Tour as well. I think.
I mean, the only thing I would suggest is maybe a weaker ball. Something a little cleaner, below that high road. But it's not like it's not, you're a little speed dominant. Yeah.
Yeah, the older wood house leads you to it a little bit, but
but yeah, overall, I think you've got a fairly decent spread of equipment.
Cove and Optimum Idle. We like the Cove with polish, so it would be closer to the Optimum Idle Pearl of those two.
If you are looking for a bowling ball, maybe you could consider having a look at our friends over at Bowlers Mart.
Plenty of options. I want that one.
Chamois, jerseys, balls, bags, and shoes. The highest quality products you'll find on the market, and here at Bowlers Mart, we make sure to find the correct access point of any bowler to maximize their benefits from our products and ensure a great experience. Stop by today and let us help you, because at Bowlers Mart, every bowler matters.
Well, almost did well. Almost. Absolute catastrophe after that, but almost well. Thought you might like it, King Cliff. Yeah. So anyway, I got a few more shots in with my next factor. The lane had been decently broken down on a house shot. So let me show you. So I'm actually dodging around all over the lane here, really. It's hard for me to really say that this is a lot like anything else. The closest ball in my bag is definitely the High Road 40.
I'd agree with that.
I feel like this one is a little more pop, which would kind of make sense because I think it's a little bit of a cleaner cover and a little bit more weight block, a little bit more flare. I drilled mine pretty weak, 5 3/4 inch pin, 4.5 mass bias and like a 3-inch buffer. So I've ordered another couple that I'm going to mess around with layouts to see. Because when I used it in league last night, it looked great, but I had like three kind of ring 10s. So maybe if I can get it to just pick up a little sooner with a little more flair. That might be a bit better earlier. I really like the way I don't have to worry about the front part of the lane with this ball. And, I mean, I say it all the time. This is something that's drastically different, and that's fun and interesting. And hell, I don't like when we get the current balls like the hyperdrive pearl or whatever. As soon as I drill it, I know exactly how I would drill another one to change the reaction kind of how I want, because the balls are very similar to stuff that's already come before. I have no idea what the layout differences are going to be. This ball actually hooked more than I expected it to with the layout I put on it. So I'm really fascinated as somebody who likes drilling balls. To like get in there and like have a play around with it.
Yeah, a lot of times the balls that do come out are replacements. If this goes in the bag, then something else goes out. But this doesn't replace anything that's in my bag right now. This is an add to. Now we might have to work around some different shapes around it in a smaller arsenal, but because it did allow me to be so much further left as in games 2 and 3 of league, that will be, it'd be interesting to see kind of where it ends up being. It might even end up being in a medium angular slot versus a lower end, because it did hook a lot. Mine was box finish. I literally threw my first shots ever with it while I was doing the video.
True. He called me to ask me why his mic wasn't working, so it is true. And I said, "Have you thrown a shot yet?" And he goes, "No."
Yeah.
I had grazed the surface in the same way as I do to all of the pearl balls, so it was somewhat consistent, I guess, to every other ball that I have. So yeah.
Yeah, Ryan and I probably will not be. He's not back until December 19th. So all right. Would the next factor be comparable to Vibo, lightning blackout, or typhoon? And if so, could you explain? It's a combination of typhoon and Vibo to me. The blackout is nowhere in the conversation. Way smoother, less than half the flare. So,
and probably earlier.
The typhoon is higher RG, and it is really pretty clean. Although I do think maybe the typhoon's cover might be stronger. It felt like, I don't know. It might have just been because the core was.
I think that the typhoon uses one of the weaker covers, one of the older covers. So,
and so it relied on friction to be able to hook. And the Vivo, I think, is probably a couple of feet sooner.
I think the Vivo transitions quicker.
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense because lower RG makes the ball spin faster, picks up a roll faster. So
I feel like, I know we're hitting the buzzwords here, but I feel like the next factor is a little bit more continuous, but you have to get it started. But if it I really genuinely believe that slower speed players, and that can be totally relative. But I just think that this is going to be a ball that you're going to be able to use the friction and actually be able to give the head pin away. Whereas, I mean, for Tina and Linda, and especially Tina, the more she gets in and she starts to give the head pin away, it's like the balls transition too quickly. So once they go away from the head pin, it's way harder for them to get back up to get into the pocket through in a nice, in a good fashion. Last night was the first time in ages I'd seen Tina be able to really give the head pin away. And I don't mean just give it away and the ball get through the 8-pin. So I mean, the last game she shot 267. And like I think she bowled 698. So I'm very optimistic about this ball being something that we're going to be able to use. I think my only problem that I might run into it is I'm going to have a decent amount of success with it, and it's going to make me want to use it more than I should use it, because it's like that cheat code. It gets through the front part of the lane, which is, of course, what I'm always worried about, and like trying to spin my hand around it. Well, I'm not going to have to do that. So I'm always going to be like, oh shit, maybe I can get to that one. And I think that you might end up creating a little bit of under over.
Right. Under over will be do you think you can draw one of these pin down and blend it enough?
We're going to find out.
Right. This will be a ball. There could be a couple of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fairly interested to see what happens.
Do you guys hope there will be another version of the level? I think there will be. I do not hope there will be.
I think I fall into a very similar category. Oh, yeah. You know what? We got to see an Aggie touchdown, though. How did you enjoy the game? Oh, the game. You were talking so much smack. Oh, God. You'd have been the first person to comment if the Aggies had kept up their first half. Oh, I hope we didn't hurt your quarterback too bad for the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. I was wrong about that. I was thinking about Jack 60 and then the TOC, but
it really didn't suck. It was fucking awesome because we were at the stadium and it was loud. Oh, look, another team that can't beat the Longhorns.
Wow.
You are. Good luck. Good luck.
Somebody asked about, I'm thinking close to the Revenant. I mean, I don't think that's a terrible comparison, but I do think this comment's also right. I think it's stronger than the Revenant. It's just it's more core, and we're on more oil, but a lot of it is in the body and into the lane right now. It feels like to me, only my opinion, that all the oils and what additives have changed. 90+% of it is all made at the same place by the same company. And so the additives and things that they've done right now to make the oils hold up, I think all oils carry down now, even with reactive balls, which they did back in the 2000s for a while. And then they didn't. The balls started absorbing more and felt like they picked it up instead of pushed it down the lane. And then urethane came around and only urethane pushed it down the lane. And now we're back to, I feel like all balls push it down the lane. Obviously, urethane and plastic do it faster. But that being said, the point of all this is that a stronger cores and some of those things are necessary to create some of those same reactions that we had 6 years ago, 10 years ago. If that makes sense.
I'm just having a look to answer this question.
Like I said, it was X number of thousands of days since A&M beat Texas.
Yeah, it's going to be almost 6,000. It's going to be like 5,500 or something. To be fair, they've only played twice.
What are your favorite balls to use short pin layouts, and what is your preferred pin to pap distance on those? Since urethane came out, none.
Yeah. Dark berry is the answer to the smell.
Yeah, I actually didn't talk about the smell, and I didn't remember what it. But back in the day, 2-inch pins were kind of my go-to.
I love Brad. So yeah. I was about to say Brad bowling in transition looks confusing. But no, I mean, seriously, I think that transition is the ultimate it depends situation.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to do a YouTube video, you're trying to. I haven't watched it, but I imagine it went something like this. He said, when this happens, you should do this. And then his brain caught up and he thought, well, yeah, but sometimes this.
Yeah.
And then he said that as well, because the thing is sometimes it is better to move left and sometimes it is better to ball down. And sometimes you don't really know what you should do. So you do all of the things.
Yeah.
And you're not really sure which was the right one that was the answer. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is the hardest because obviously this is the part lane play is a part I really loved. Balls and lane play and how it all marries together. Done clinics for 15 years on this kind of thing, but it is really when you start putting down a storyboard on how to do a video on it, and it's almost impossible because it can move around so much. And so it is the part about announcing I like the best because you can go in and go, okay, and what we're seeing today, his options are most likely this and this. And it's probably not, I mean, there are really 3 or 4 options, but in the heat of the moment, one game, and yeah, that might have been his point. And it is, you're really trying to narrow down this is most likely to be successful. This is next most likely, and not spend a lot of time before you get to them. But it's because it's all perception and then how you perceive it and then how you react to it. That is 90% of transition bowling.
It's also super hard to explain to someone who's watching in 2D what you're seeing in 3D.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that all the time about the ball videos, and it's why I kind of messed around with that camera on me, and why, if I can find a deal, we're going to mess around with Chris using some of the glasses. It's just trying to give you that different perspective, that's a more similar perspective to what you're seeing. Because when you watch a video and it's kind of flat, the depth perception is really difficult. However, when you bowl, you don't see the front 20 feet of the lane just because it's basically impossible for your eyes to readjust to it.
Just show your video while you're talking about this, or one of them, and just let them see the balls going in the lane, and we can talk.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, but this is why a lot of the balls look the same because it's so flat. Like the picture is so flat.
When they had the stands up above, it was one of the most fascinating things to see how different some of the balls looked when you were actually a bird's eye type view. It's obviously the highest I ever was over a ball reaction, but it was so unique that it took a while to figure out what you were really seeing.
I think this is the best one, actually. Because Chris is throwing this, and you can see how far right this ball gets, right? Now, if you watch this next shot, this is with the Viking. Everybody's going to say that Chris doesn't throw this as far right. But it's because it gets to that spot, right?
It hooked at 15 feet.
It picks up more there. So then it's already making its transition this way. So but
the first to third shot were the two that were closer.
Yes.
But the next factor went ahead and stretched all the way to it and got there later. And then the next one, I got it there way sooner. And it was also okay. And on video, they don't even look that much different, which is, as I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, they didn't look crazily.
Yeah.
But one of them got to the gutter and that one just stopped going to it.
Yes. And that was the point I was making. It's not that you didn't throw that on the same line through the front. It's and this is what we talk when I try to explain and I get upset about pro bowlers saying out loud, oh, well, amateurs play the lanes side to side and we play them front to back. It's the same fucking thing. Like, if the ball picks up earlier, you didn't have it go as far right.
Right.
if it goes longer, it's going to go further right and come back. So what do you have left to right, or do you have more front to back?
Yeah, and like this is camera one having a foul line, having the ball in view, which is it's a little the same problem is because it's like a familiarity is really how you can tell the difference between what's going on. And when you use a unique view, it's not as helpful because you can't tell what's going on. It's a first time go. But I do agree with being a little higher. Like if we can get it, some centers just don't let you get it up high enough to really matter.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Helpful,
played
but-
around with a lot of camera angles, and the same thing happens. You just don't see the depth. You don't understand how complicated your vision is in comparison to a camera shot. You just don't. Like, I could sit next to somebody while filming the ball video, and they'd watch the video back. You're even after you threw the shot, and you're like, "That's not what I saw."
Right.
So, bowling videos with POV glass would really help the viewer in seeing what skill players see. Yeah. I mean, I
think
agree to some
interesting,
extent,
but we will be looking at the same thing at least.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's the idea with the Ray-Ban glasses is that maybe that will lead up to it.
I'm just trying to find a
right.
decent-
I don't want to. It just got to needs to be reasonable.
Yeah.
Talking about transition on telecast might be a bit easier because the commentators probably knew what the bowlers were doing during the week leading up the show. Well, if I was doing it, we would, because either I'd be bowling or I'd be out there probably watching Ryan or what have you. Lots of times, I mean, Bo used to show up basically the last couple of games of match play, so he didn't see much other than the TV show.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic how ahead of the time those things were.
Yeah. Not a lot of that. The technology exists, but it's just not ready for mainstream yet. Can you imagine when the Miller Group came on, we started bowling in arenas. We went to all the match play thing. We're going to live stream everything, but 2/3 of America was still on dial-up internet. It just didn't work because people couldn't see it in any kind of.
Right. Now I realize it was a short. Oh, I'll go and watch it.
Not wrong. I mean,
it's just it's also such a hard thing to show because it's like, because I've thought about how we could do that, and like, do you do like a time-lapse video?
Yeah, it's almost for a
But it's
little
just-
while during COVID, we were doing those pot games things. And so you could have done, because you had 5 or 6 guys that were good bowlers all bowling at the same time. So the lanes broke down fast and you could get to it, but it's not fast enough for a video. I mean, it's a hour process to get it through.
Yeah.
And that's moving if you can get it done in an hour.
Yeah.
That's firing shots off. Yeah, there you go. The video Stu did with the POV were some of the best. I thought his camera was pretty cool. Obviously, the glasses don't work for him because he can't see with it.
Yeah. I mean,
that
that setup was kind of a pain in the ass, but it wasn't terrible.
And don't forget to disable your call waiting for hopping on that air. Yeah, no doubt. Bing bong bong, bing bong 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 bong, the bong bong. AOL, you've got mail.
It pains me to say it, but they had a horrible schedule, and to get to this to 10-2, I believe the technical phrase is fair fucks to them.
Yeah, you were talking about this about 4 weeks ago. You're like, if they get all the way through that, then exactly. Then because their schedule was much tougher than most.
I still don't believe, and I don't give a shit that Texas lost to Florida, that us losing to the best team, Texas losing to the best team in the country by a mile, the first game of the season. If Texas don't play that game, they're in the college playoff. And I just think that when the committee is still way too worried about 10-2 being that's the line. Well, why isn't 11-1 the line, and why aren't they taking some of these teams from way below? Like, why are BYU behind Notre Dame and like all of this shit? It's like they've decided that 3 losses is too many. But
right. It's like comparing that and going, well, the Colts schedule, it was the same as the Ravens or the Bills schedule, which has been the gauntlet all year. Like if they play each other, Vegas would have it, and the Bills would be favored.
Yeah, I mean the thing is college football, the schedules aren't even comparable to the NFL. Like they're just not. I mean, even like Texas A&M, they played one team in the top half of the SEC and lost that. Now that's not their fault. It's just a fact.
Yeah, that's the randomness. Yeah. You really kind of comes down to what do you want to see moving forward? Because they're going to reward teams for wins and losses only. They're just not going to schedule tough games.
Exactly.
And if you want to reward, I think if you want to reward those good games early in the season, then you have to wait. Not only did the team improve from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, because they are college kids, and the best programs have significant turnover year over year. They just do. So they have to work in brand new people. Do you want to see good games early in the year, or just want to wait for the playoff every year for good games?
I had this debate with Kyle Barnes, who's a Vanderbilt fan, and he said, "But you lost to Florida," and I said, "But we beat you." But you lost to Florida, but again, we beat you, and we've got 3 wins better than any win you've got.
Yeah.
So, like, our Texas is a better team than Vanderbilt. Fucking obviously, they beat them. It's why it's total bullshit that Miami and Notre Dame have the same record, and Notre Dame are in and Miami aren't. Why bother playing the games if these guys just think, oh, I think that the eye test says Notre Dame are better? They played. They literally played each other.
Yeah.
Like, why is that a difficult concept?
Was it Notre Dame and Miami? And like, we can't compare the two. Like, well, they played for the same opponents.
But they played each other.
And they played, so.
That's the thing. Like, okay, you want to make it that Texas lost an extra game. That's fine. Whatever. Yeah. Miami beat Notre Dame. It's just, yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. No more preseason polls. Yes, I agree. 12 teams from the original AP poll didn't make the top 25. That's pretty bad.
I think the same between now the NIL thing and so much transition from you have so many things to integrate at the beginning of the season. I just think there's a lot of these teams that are super talented. They haven't played together yet.
There are too many. I knew this was coming today. I told Chris this in advance. Yeah. There are too many releases too close to each other. What's the point of making balls that are so close in similarities? While I would agree with you as a general point, it's totally null and void for this show. Totally null and void today.
Yeah.
Because this is nothing. This isn't anything close.
What's Eli talking about here? That was the secret setup that you didn't want to close how it was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh?
Still not.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, he's talking about the camera.
Yeah.
Yep. It was. Texas A&M's one good win of the season. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But they've both got the same record.
Real football uses guess what? Feet. Chuck ball, what you need to call it, or air rugby.
Oscar used to call it cuddle ball.
Cuddle ball.
Yeah, because they run like this with the ball.
Do you guys see next factor on tour? We sure hope so. I mean, in all fairness, it's pretty early.
100%. Well, but this is I've had this with several balls. Like I thought the infinite physics was going to be fantastic for me because it was awesome for me at home and I could use it on everything. And it was terrible on the PBA tour.
Right. We've had a few balls that we really it can be, I mean, it's still environmentally dependent. Any ball that becomes unique, if we've had balls that were super early, the Prodigy back in the day. But if we didn't bowl on enough oil, you would have never seen it because it would have been too early and lazy and it would have puked every time. Or bowled on super long patterns. It just wouldn't have been any good. We could bowl on too much oil. It could be too wet, dry. There could be, there's going to be things. Yeah, I mean, with the set, like I think I did a video at the Villages, and it's an older center with a raised concourse, and they had a counter there, and so then I could use a stand, and that's the highest I could get one, and still get underneath the masking units and see the pins, or not the masking units, the scoring monitors, and see the pins. There's not very many of them because they hang them low, so you can only go up so high before it gets in the way, and then when you move it that far forward, you miss the front 15 feet. And so there's some challenges for sure. That's the highest I ever got them. And it was a little bit better for sure, because you get a little bit more depth perception. It's just not as much as we want. So I saw that. I don't know any details of what happened there or why, but apparently only Rick will come on if I'm not on. So
We got some Aggie chat firing back. So, but who won the Lone Star Showdown? And are we forgetting that you were 30 points down at halftime at home to South Carolina? So don't start going on about winning an OT and needing a good break after you needed a 35-point second half to win against South Carolina. Like,
yeah. So you see the next factor replacing a high road 40 or road warrior in the bag. Yeah. If you're going to replace one, that's probably the slot. It's going to be, it's kind of a hybrid of those two. Plus it's a bigger core. It's a little stronger than both of them.
I do feel like we're heading with as much oil on the lane to a lot more, like it's been headed in the direction of more asymmetrical balls all the time.
Right. Even at the lower end, which is very odd for me to transition away from, but it's becoming a reality. Is that you need the torque in the mid lane almost all the time.
But it's always kind of been that high RG zone. You couldn't do that with an asymmetrical ball just because the physics of a big core being not core heavy, which is in layman's terms, like a low RG ball is heavier in the middle, which is why asymmetrical cores tend to be low RG because the core is bigger and it weighs more. Just in simple terms. Yeah. That's So I could see it. I'm fascinated to see if we get on something that's really dry in the front, whether this still scoots through it, or whether the core starts to, want to take over a little bit. Like where you're going to use a high road 40 and you can really push it through it because it's still a little bit slower transition, like the core, and you've got that kind of cover to get through it. So,
real quick, informal bowling poll. If we had a PBA bowling top 12, does Marshall Kent get in? Just comment in the chat. I'll explain what I'm talking about in a minute. So, moving on.
Okay. That's
USA has had a miserable Ryan has a bronze in the singles. But the doubles, none of them made it to even the round robin. Packy and them made the round robin, got slaughtered early. They lost the first game by ringing. Packy rung a 7, the other guy doubled to win, and then it spiraled pretty quickly from there. And yes, no.
Here's the thing. I don't think there's a world where Marshall's top 12. I think he's top 5 or barely top 40. And I don't think there's any in between.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of my point, is basically Texas can beat anyone in that, because their defense is so good, and they have skill position players that are capable. Arch doesn't look like it to me, like the guy, but he's played well enough.
He's got absolutely clobbered by the media. Yeah. If you actually look at the numbers at the end of the year, they're nowhere near as bad.
I'm not talking about the numbers. I'm talking about the one where the guy's wide open by 20 yards and he has to make a miracle catch because he missed him by so far.
Okay.
And the best, Joe Burrow didn't do that. Now, Arch he's still a freshman, basically.
Yeah.
He's going to get better, but he's just not there yet. Yeah. Now, that being said, they can still beat anybody. If they were that close to Ohio State at the beginning, I feel like they're capable even at the end of the year. But yes, they could also. They've had more bad games than probably anyone else in the top 8. Anyway, everyone's had bad games. If you play in the right week, you survive them. Mm-hmm. So, but Marshall's very much like that. He's capable of being anyone on any given week and has proven that. He's also had some weeks where uncharacteristically you would think low. So,
yeah, like I say, college football just comes down to, if they're going to care about the records, the big teams just are going to go back to not scheduling any tough out of conference games, and college football is going to be boring.
The Citadel's going to get a lot more off-season games.
I mean, Texas had to have a Power 4 game. They just didn't have to be Ohio State. And if it had been Virginia Tech, they'd be in the playoff. Oklahoma probably wouldn't. And Vanderbilt definitely wouldn't. And that would be the end of it. They would be ahead of Notre Dame. They'd be ahead of Miami. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter that they went to overtime. It doesn't matter that they lost to Florida. It matters that they've got 3 losses. If they didn't play Ohio State, my prophecy would be they probably wouldn't have lost if they'd have just picked some random shitty Power 4 team. And when they were 10-2, they'd have been in. That's the only argument. I don't necessarily care because I don't think they can win the national championship. And they've been the last 2 years. So, whatever. It's just, I think it's bad for college football if they encourage teams not to schedule good games because it's boring.
Right.
Like Notre Dame's schedule's a fucking joke. After their first 2 games, like their best wins USC or something. It's like, who cares?
I don't think Jesper will get this ball within a bowling center of his bag.
Oh, yeah.
This ball just goes completely sideways and 600 RPMs at 20 miles an hour. And that much RG is a really tricky match. He's looking for control all the time, which is really, other than Belmo, most of the guys are just looking for control.
I am going to
throw it a little slower, and so this might be a ball that Belmo, of all those guys, might be able to take advantage of a tremendous amount.
Agreed. I'm going to try for Thursday or next Tuesday to get somebody from head office to come on and chat about some of the design processes and whatever, about why this ball was challenging. Hopefully we can get Hank to come on for half an hour. He is so intelligent, it's painful at times. But he is very, very good at being able to talk to the common man. So hopefully we can get him to blend teaching us something without making us feel like we're the dumbest people in the world. But that's going to be my challenge. We are going to do a giveaway. I'm leaning towards making it so it's a Next Factor giveaway, just because I want to get some of these in people's hands, because I think it's
Fear Factor.
I think it's
What?
a fun ball, and I don't necessarily know that everybody's going to want to run out because it's so different. I don't think people are necessarily going to be jumping to be the test dummy, so to speak.
Hmm.
Somebody said get Chad on. Chad can definitely talk a good game for sure. I like Chad.
We're talking about McLean,
Hank or Gary. Well, Gary isn't going to help us with the technical side of it. Might be an interesting chat about if we could get Gary on and be open about it. It might be an interesting chat about the marketing thoughts of a ball coming out 3 weeks after the previous ball or whatever. But I don't necessarily know that's a conversation that.
Hey. Just ease off me a little bit.
Okay, back up off my guy.
I deserve it. It's
oh shit!
I get to talk in the videos, and I'm going off the top, and we don't. I'm not cutting it. So
yeah,
I might have said that the differential might have been 3 different numbers by the time that video is over. I'm not sure.
You're actually pretty good. Me, I've got to the point now where I don't even make an effort. I'm like, just put the specs up, Roddy.
Well, this is 100%. It is observation. Observation and how you react to it is really
it's huge observation combined with how does that apply to me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your reaction to those observations is everything. Finding the right tools. I mean, literally, Prather was almost off tour. He was ready to go home. He added a trick that let him bowl good the last 2 or 3 things, and then he started to see it in Tulsa, the same place where you had a monster series. You guys both mauled him, and you're like, oh well, that was cool for him. We'll see, how that goes. And then he made the next show, and then he made the show after that, and he just went from being a guy who threw it really good, that was struggling to stay out there, to he just went right to the top 10. And simple observation clicked with his tools.
Want to talk about football? Let's talk about that Giants punt. I think you mean kick. But yes. Did you see the field goal attempt last night? Younghoe Koo kicked behind the ball and never actually made contact with the ball.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that at high school. I mean, high school it's happened, but college or.
So then the poor punter, I guess it was, picks the ball up because he was the holder, and he got absolutely ran over like a
did he go over it or under it? What did he do?
He kicked before the ball.
Yeah.
And then his foot just stopped because he kicked straight into the ground. He probably kicked about this far before the ball, and his toe just got caught in the field.
Holy cow. All right. This is like the Gary Permian thing from like the 70s where the
you should
hunter's trying to throw it. Yeah, we'll get that one up.
All right.
Yeah.
Dear.
All right.
Officially a sack. The Giants had a field goal and they took a sack.
Well, on that note, Next Factor, December 19th, I believe, is the official date. Comes out just before Christmas. Could be the 21st.
I think it's the 19th.
But there you go. Videos. You'll start seeing videos tomorrow.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, let us know what you think. But the one thing about it, we don't. long and strong and, longer and hooks more down lane and all that is not what we say about every ball, but we do say it about this one for sure.
Yeah.
So, hey, thanks for joining us. We'll come back Thursday. Like Stu said, we got a couple of things planned for you. And between now and then, please support the sponsors, support us, Storm, Rotogrip, Niner Global, Coolwick, Bowlers Mart, Fire Lake Bowling Center, Lightning Strikes, and of course, Platinum Ford. Till next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.
See you later. Thanks for tuning in.